Let me tell you something real right now. Life is going to hit you. Not maybe, not someday. It will hit you. Hard. Life doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care how good you've been, how smart you are, or how much potential you've got. It will test you. You will fall. You will fail. You will get knocked flat on your back. Setbacks are a part of life that no one can escape. No matter who you are, how much you prepared, or how carefully you planned your steps, you're going to run into obstacles. Things won't always go your way. There will be moments when you feel like the wind's been knocked out of you, when your expectations don't match your reality, when the job falls through, when the relationship ends, when the dream seems too far away. These moments are universal. They don't discriminate. Setbacks are not personal attacks. They are part of the process of becoming more. The truth is, most people think failure is a sign to stop. They think a setback is proof that they're not good enough. But that's not what a setback really is. A setback is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It's a signal that something needs to change, that something in you needs to grow, shift, adapt, or strengthen. It's not a no, it's a not yet. But when you let your emotions take control, when frustration, fear, or shame take the wheel, you start telling yourself stories that aren't true. You start believing you're not worthy, you're not capable, you're not meant for more. And none of that is real. Every champion you admire has a story full of setbacks. Every leader, every inventor, every visionary, every athlete, they've all faced moments where quitting looked easier than continuing. But the reason they rose was not because they never failed. It's because they understood that falling is part of the journey. They understood that setbacks are where resilience is born. They didn't avoid failure. They embraced it. They didn't run from the pain. They used it. That's the difference. You see, setbacks expose who you really are. They don't make you weak. They reveal your strength. When you're riding high, when everything's working, it's easy to look like you got it all together. But when the pressure hit, when the money's tight, when you're tired, when nothing's going the way it should, that's when your character is tested. And that test isn't designed to break you. It's designed to build you. You have to reframe the way you see failure. Most people treat it like the enemy. They try to avoid it, hide it, deny it. But if you avoid failure, you avoid growth. If you hide your losses, you bury your lessons. Setbacks are not the opposite of success. They are part of success. Every time life pushes you back, you have a choice. You can sit down, give up, feel sorry for yourself. Or you can plant your feet, square your shoulders, and push back harder. What separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay down is mindset, not skill, not luck, not talent. It's the mindset that says, I'm not done. It's the mindset that sees a closed door and starts looking for a window. It's the mindset that knows pain is temporary, but quitting is forever. People who bounce back don't avoid the fire. They walk through it because they know on the other side of the fire is something they need. A new version of themselves, forged in struggle. There's something powerful that happens when you survive a setback. Yeah. When you fall and get back up, you don't come back the same. You come back stronger. You come back wiser. You learn how to adjust, how to endure, how to fight smarter. Setbacks teach you things success never could. They show you what you care about. They show you what you're willing to bleed for. They strip away your ego and reveal your drive. They separate the dreamers from the doers. Some people use setbacks as excuses. They say, I tried once and it didn't work. I gave it my best and still failed. Or maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, you don't grow from trying once. You grow from getting up every time you fall. The moment you decide that failure means finality, you lose. But the moment you decide that failure means feedback, you win. Because now you're learning. Now you're evolving. Now you're dangerous. Setbacks don't mean you're not good enough. They mean you're being prepared for the next level. You can't skip steps and grow. You can't fast forward maturity. You have to go through the struggle. You have to feel what it's like to lose something and still keep moving. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from winning all the time, but from knowing you can lose and still get back in the game. That's the kind of confidence no one can give you and no one can take away. So don't be surprised when life gets heavy. Don't be shocked when doors close. People walk away or plans fall apart. That's not the end. That's just the beginning of a new layer of strength inside you. You are not the type to break. You are the type to bend, to adjust, to stretch, and then to rise. You weren't made to be untouched by failure. You were made to rise in the middle of it. You are built not to avoid setbacks, but to survive them and come out better every single time. You were not created for comfort zones. You were not designed to live a life that's soft, easy, and free from struggle. You were built for pressure. You were built for the days that test you, break you, stretch you. You were built for the fight. There's something inside you that was made to endure storms. It's not a weakness. It's your edge. Your ability to keep standing, even when everything around you is falling apart, is not just survival. It's power. It's power. Most people want the rewards without the resistance. They want strength without the struggle. But life doesn't work like that. Muscles don't grow unless they're challenged. Diamonds aren't formed unless they're under pressure. Legends aren't born. They're built in adversity. That pressure you're feeling, that tension, that resistance, that discomfort, that's shaping you. That's building you into someone who can carry the weight of greatness. You were not built for ordinary. You were built for more. You were built to carry burdens others can't. You were built to step into challenges that make others run. The pain you faced, the battles you've had to fight, the nights you spent questioning your worth, they weren't wasted. They were preparation. They were carving you into someone sharper, tougher, more focused. You're not fragile. You're forged. And everything you've been through is proof that you're still here for a reason. It's easy to talk about strength when life is smooth, but real strength shows up when everything goes wrong, when the plan falls apart, when the people you trusted walk away, when the door you've been praying for slams shut in your face. That's when you're built for this nature has to take over. That's when you stop reacting and start rising. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are. Some people crumble under pressure because they don't believe they were made for it. They think pressure means something's wrong. But pressure is just proof that you're in the right arena. You're doing something that matters. You're reaching for something bigger. And anything worth building will come with resistance. That's why you were made with more than just talent. You were made with toughness. You were made to handle what others avoid. Not to handle or you were made to walk through fire and come out refined, not destroyed. This world will try to convince you that being soft, being passive, being quiet is the way to get by. You weren't made to get by, you were made to lead, to influence, to stand up when others sit down. You were made to carry a vision, and vision attracts resistance. That resistance confirmation. Not that you're going the wrong way, but that you're shaking things up. That you're waking up something powerful in yourself and in others. You are not your circumstances. You are not your pain. You are not your pain. You are what you've done with it. You are how you kept going when no one believed in you. You are the fire that refused to go out. You are the fight that never backed down. The proof that you were built different is that you're still standing. You didn't break. You might have bent, but you came back stronger. You didn't let it stop you. And that's what makes you dangerous. Some people spend their whole lives avoiding the hard path. They choose what's easy, what's comfortable, what's predictable. But you weren't made for predictable. You weren't made to shrink, to hide, to play small. You were built to grow through what you go through. Every trial was a test. Every setback was a setup. Every failure was a forge. And now what used to break you, it builds you. What used to scare you, now strengthens you. You've got to remember that pressure is not punishment. It's potential. It's the signal that something great is being formed in you. That breakdown you went through, it was a breaking open. So you could rebuild. That rejection, it was redirection. So you could realign. That loss, it wasn't the end. It was the lesson. And every lesson had to wait to your foundation. That's why you don't crumble when others do. Your foundation is solid. Your roots run deep. Don't apologize for being strong. Don't apologize for being resilient. Don't shrink to make other people comfortable. Your strength makes people uncomfortable because it reminds them of what they've refused to develop in themselves. Let them talk. Let them die. You weren't built for their approval. You were built for the mission, for the mountain, for the moments most people run from. When things get hard, that's not your signal to back off. That's your signal to lean in. When the world sees adversity, you see opportunity. When the world sees pressure, you see purpose. Because you know what's inside you wasn't placed there by accident. You know the fight you've been through wasn't random. It was custom built for your growth, You're not here to survive the storm. You are the storm. You bring energy, focus, grit. You bring strength that doesn't fade when it gets hard. It activates. You are built for this, built for now, built for what's ahead. And there's no weight, no pressure, no storm, no trial that can undo what's been forged in you through fire. Nobody's coming to save you. That's a hard truth, but it's one that will set you free the moment you accept it. Too many people are stuck in the same place year after year because they're waiting for a sign, waiting for someone to discover them, waiting for a handout, a break, a lucky moment that changes everything. But that wait is the trap. Because deep down, what they really need isn't a rescuer. It's responsibility. The moment you realize that it's on you to change your life is the moment your power returns. We've been conditioned to think that help is always on the way, that someone will notice when things go wrong, that somebody will pick us up when we fall. But the truth is, the world keeps moving. It doesn't pause for your pain. It doesn't stop for your setbacks. People have their own lives, their own problems, their own storms to weather. And while support can be beautiful when it shows up, you can't afford to depend on it. You have to build the kind of mindset that says, whether they help me or not, I'm still going to rise. Because when you rely on others to fix what's broken in your life, you give them power they were never meant to hold. You let your future sit in someone else's hands. You're basically saying, I'll move forward, but only if someone else makes it easier. That kind of thinking is a slow death for your potential. It robs you of the fight, the fire, the self-belief you need to move in the face of resistance. And the longer you wait for someone to save you, the deeper you sink into helplessness. The truth is, everything changes when you decide to take ownership. That doesn't mean pretending you have all the answers. It means refusing to play the victim. It means standing in the middle of your mess and saying, I might not have caused this, but I'm the one who's going to fix it. But I'm the one who's going to fix it. That kind of mindset isn't easy, but it's necessary. Because the moment you decide to take charge of your own life, no one can take that from you. Not failure, not loss, not rejection. You become unshakable. You don't need someone to hand you the opportunity. You need to be the one who creates it. You don't need permission to go after your dreams. You need discipline, vision, and a refusal to quit. The people who rise are the ones who stop waiting and start building. They stop complaining and start moving. They stop looking around for support and start looking within for strength. That kind of person becomes unstoppable because they've chosen to be responsible. Think about the most successful people you know. The ones who made it through chaos, through poverty, through loss, through everything life, through that thing life, through you think they waited for someone to give them a chance? No, they made their own lane. They got tired of the excuses, tired of feeling powerless, tired of sitting on the sidelines while life passed them by. They took ownership. They said, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And they got to work. Responsibility doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means not depending on others to carry you. It means asking for help when needed, but not being paralyzed without it. It means showing up even when no one is watching. It means being your own motivation, your own accountability, your own reason to keep going. Because once you decide that you are enough, that your effort matters, that your progress is your job, nothing can stop you. And here's the reality. You already have what you need to start. You may not feel ready. You may not have the resources, the confidence, the perfect plan. But you've got something more important. The ability to decide. The ability to say, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm getting up. I'm moving forward. That decision is what separates those who dream from those who do. That decision is what turns struggle into strength. Because the moment you stop waiting, you start becoming. Most people will never make that shift. They'll keep blaming their past, their parents, their boss, their environment. They'll keep hoping someone else will take responsibility for their pain. But those who rise, they flip the switch. They realize that no one owes them success. No one owes them healing. No one owes them closure or fairness or applause. They take their hit and then they get up. They wipe the blood off their face and they get back to the grind. Because they know the only one who can change their life is the one looking back at them in the mirror. That's the kind of power you carry. Not the power to control everything, but the power to choose your response to anything. The power to start over, to rebuild, to keep climbing. That power multiplies every time you use it. Every time you get up without a hand to pull you. Every time you move forward when no one is cheering. Every time you refuse to quit just because it's hard. You strengthen the part of you that doesn't need saving. The part of you that leads. The part of you that wins. Pain is not your enemy. It's not a punishment, and it's not a sign that you're failing. Pain is a teacher. It's a mirror. It's the forge where your next level is formed. Most people run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, try to hide from it. But pain doesn't go away just because you pretend it's not there. If anything, it grows in silence. It waits for you in the quiet moments when you're alone, when the distractions are gone, when you finally have to face what's real. But when you stop running from pain and start learning from pain, everything changes. Pain reveals what's real. It strips away the surface and shows you what's underneath. Now, when you're in pain, there's no pretending. You can't fake strength. You can't fake purpose. You can't fake identity. Pain makes you face the truth about yourself. It shows you your limits, but it also shows you how much more you're capable of. It breaks your routine, your ego, your comfort, and in the pieces, it gives you a chance to rebuild something stronger. Every setback that hurt you has something to teach you. Every betrayal, every failure, every heartbreak, they weren't just moments of suffering. They were turning points. You can only see that when you're willing to lean in instead of shutting down. When you stop asking, oh, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That's when pain becomes your power. That's when you start using it instead of being used by it. There are some lessons you will never learn in comfort. Growth doesn't happen in the easy seasons. It happens in a fight. It happens when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you want to quit. That's when you start to find out who you really are. That's when your character is shaped. It's not shaped by success. It's revealed through struggle. If you only grow when life is good, your foundation will collapse the moment things get tough. But when you've been through pain and you've learned how to stand inside of it, you become unshakable. Pain introduces you to your strength. You don't know how strong you are until you've been forced to be, until you've had to get up when everything in you said, stay down, until you've had to forgive when you didn't get an apology, until you've had to believe when nothing in your life looked like hope. That kind of strength doesn't come from books or speeches or theories. It comes from experience. It comes from pain. And once you've earned that strength, no one can take it from you. The world tries to tell you that pain is a weakness, that is something to be ashamed of. The real weakness is hiding from pain. Real weakness is pretending you're fine when you're breaking inside. Strength is facing it. Strength is feeling every ounce of it and still choosing to move forward. Strength is saying, this hurts, but it will not define me. This hurts, but it will not control me. This hurts, but I will not stay here. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come on the other side of your greatest pain. But you have to go through it to get there. You have to go through it to get there. You have to stop avoiding the hard conversations, the uncomfortable growth, the emotional truth. You have to look your pain in the face and say, I see you, I feel you, but I'm not afraid of you anymore. Because once you take away the fear, pain loses its grip. It becomes a tool, not a trap. And it's not just about your own growth. The pain you've been through gives you the ability to help others. It gives you empathy. It gives you depth. When you walk through fire, you can guide others through theirs. When you climbed out of a pit, you can throw a rope down to someone else. That's how leaders are built. That's how impact is made. Not by being perfect, but by being real. By owning your scars and showing others that healing is possible. People admire the mountaintop, but they connect with the climb. They relate to the struggle. So don't hide your pain like it's something to be ashamed of. Use it. Let it be your message. Let it fuel your purpose. Let it remind you of how far you've come. You didn't just survive that pain. You were transformed by it. You came out wiser. You came out sharper. You came out stronger. Not because the pain went away quickly, but because you chose to face it fully. Some of the most beautiful parts of you were born in pain. Your courage, your patience, your resilience, they weren't gifted to you. They were earned. Earned through disappointment. Earned through loss. Earned through the moments when you could have given up but chose not to. That's the kind of strength no one sees at first glance. It doesn't shout. It doesn't boast. But it's there. Steady, solid, rooted deep from everything you've overcome. Pain is not the end of your story. It's not the thing that disqualifies you. It's the thing that prepares you. It's the weight that builds your endurance. It's the resistance that builds your power. It's the night that teaches you to search for the dawn. And while it may not have been what you asked for, it may be exactly what you needed to become who you were always meant to be. There will come a time when everything you planned starts to unravel. The timing won't be right. The people you counted on will walk away. The results you expected will fall short. And in that moment, you'll be faced with a decision that will define you far more than any victory ever could. Will you keep going? Will you still show up? Will you have the strength to move forward? Not because it's easy, not because it's convenient, but because you made a commitment to the goal, to the vision, to yourself. Discipline is the difference between those who dream and those who deliver. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. It's based on how you feel. And your feelings can be unreliable, but discipline, that's different. Shows up when you don't feel like it. Discipline keeps going the excitement phase. Discipline doesn't care about mood or comfort. Discipline doesn't care about mood or comfort. Discipline is rooted in decision, not emotion. It's what carries you when every excuse makes perfect sense. When you're tired, when it's early, when no one's watching, when the world isn't clapping for you, that's when discipline has to take over. Because success isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistent effort. Small choices repeated daily with relentless focus. Most people want to feel inspired before they act, but champions act their way into inspiration. They don't wait to feel ready. They get up, they grind, and they build the fire from their own effort. There's a kind of mental toughness that's born from doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to. Waking up when you'd rather sleep. Working out when your body says quit. Studying when your mind is tired. Showing up when no one says thank you. That kind of consistency turns average people into elite performers. Not because they're special, but because they've decided to keep their promises to themselves no matter how hard it gets. And that's the real test. Can you keep showing up when the lights are off, when the noise is gone, when no one's giving you credit? Can you still push when no one is clapping, when the goal feels far away? When progress is slow and frustrating, most people stop there. Most people need a reward just to keep moving, but not you. You gotta learn to be fueled by the process, to fall in love with the discipline, to train your mind to be stronger than your feeling. Every day, you're either feeding your habits or feeding your excuses. Every moment is a choice to rise or retreat. And every excuse you make today becomes a limitation you live with tomorrow. But every time you choose discipline, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. One workout doesn't change your body, but it strengthens your identity. That strengthens your identity. One late night study session won't make you a genius, but it rewires your brain for commitment. These choices stack. They build a mindset, a lifestyle, a legacy. Discipline is freedom. It doesn't restrict you. It liberates you from chaos, from inconsistency, from regret. The more disciplined you become, the more in control you are of your future. Because life will always throw distractions in your path. Comfort will always whisper your name. But discipline speaks louder. It says, you have something to build. You have a purpose to protect. You have a destiny that doesn't wait for convenient moments. People often look at successful individuals and assume they're just lucky, just talented, just blessed. What they don't see is the 5 a.m. mornings, the skip parties, the lonely nights, the missed calls, the focus, the sacrifices, the quiet hours of work when no one else is watching. Hey, that's the real story, the grind behind the glory. And it all comes back to discipline, the decision to do what matters over what's easy. You don't need more motivation. You need structure. You need boundaries. You need to set the standard for yourself so high that mediocrity feels like betrayal. You need to build routines that align with your goals. You need to stop negotiating with your weakness. Stop reasoning with your distraction. Your future doesn't care how you feel today. It cares about what you build, brick by brick, when it's hard. You'll have moments when you want to give up, when the results don't match the effort, when doubt starts whispering that it's all a waste. And that's when discipline becomes more than a habit. It becomes your anchor. You keep going because you said you would. You keep moving because the vision hasn't changed, even if the emotions have. You learn to trust your discipline more than your doubt. And with every day you stay consistent, something shifts. You get mentally sharper. You get emotionally tougher. You stop needing applause to feel progress. You stop chasing validation and start embodying excellence. You become someone who finishes what they start, who honors the grind, who doesn't need a reminder to show up, because showing up is part of who you are now. Discipline is what builds champions in silence. It's what shapes greatness before the world ever sees it. It's what sets you apart, not because you're louder, faster, or flashier, but because you're dependable. You don't just try, you train. You don't just wish, you work. You don't just dream, you deliver. And that foundation, that level of consistency becomes your ad. Yeah. You are not here to just survive. You are not here to exist in the shadows of your fear, your past, or your circumstances. You were built with something greater in you, a power, a fire, a force that was meant to rise. And no matter what life has thrown at you, that fire is still there. You might have been knocked down, but you were not knocked out. You were built to rise, built to evolve, built to fight forward, even when everything around you says stop. There's a warrior inside of you, one that's been tested by pain, refined by disappointment, and made sharper through every single challenge. And that warrior isn't defined by how easy life has been. That warrior is defined by how many times you kept going when quitting would have made more sense. You don't always see the strength growing in those moments, but it is. Every setback you faced and still stood up from, that was your rise. Every door that slammed in your face and didn't stop you, that was your rise. Every time you got up with tears in your eyes, with doubts in your mind, but still moved forward, that was your rise. You weren't built for comfort. You weren't designed to just stay safe and play small. There's something inside of you that craves more. Not just more success, more recognition, or more money, but more impact, more purpose, more fire. You were not built to sit quietly in your potential. You were built to stretch, to climb, to keep getting better. Because the process of rising isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to show up, willing to struggle, willing to grow, willing to fall, and still say, I'm not done. When you rise, you don't just change your life. You shift everything connected to you, your family, your legacy. The people watching you, hoping you'll make it so they can believe it's possible for them too. You become a blueprint, a testimony, a living reminder that greatness isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about walking through it and refusing to back down. Every step you take toward your higher self lights the path for someone else. Every breakthrough you earn becomes permission for someone else to believe in this. You have to understand, rising is not a one-time event. It's a daily choice. A decision made in silence, made in exhaustion, made when nothing is working but your heart is still beating. And in those moments, that choice, that refusal to stay down is what separates average from elite. You rise because you refuse to let your story end in defeat. You rise because you've come too far to go back. You rise because even in your lowest moment, there's a whisper in your soul that says, there's more in me. That whisper's the truth. You got more in you than you've shown the world. You got potential sitting under the surface, waiting to be unlocked by discipline, by pain, by relentless effort. But the key is inside you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you're dreaming of. You have to build it. You have to build it. You have to fight for it, for you have to earn it. And that means pushing when it's hard. That means digging deeper when you think you've got nothing left. That means not letting the weight of your past drown out the power of your future. People will doubt you. Circumstances will try to break you. You will have moments when it feels like nothing is moving, nothing is changing. But even when you can't see the progress, even when the mountain looks too high, the climb too steep, you gotta keep rising. Because something is happening inside of you, grit is forming, character is being shaped. And those invisible wins, those days when you simply refuse to quit, they're adding up. They're building you into someone unbreakable. You don't have to be the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented. You just have to be the one who doesn't quit. The one who keeps getting up. The one who keeps swinging. Keep rising through the confusion, through the fear, through the failure. Because every level you've dreamed of is waiting on the other side of resilience. And resilience isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's built in the dark, in the trenches, in the lonely hours when you got every reason to stop and still you go on. This rise, it's not for show. It's not for applause. It's for you, for your peace, for your purpose, for the version of you that knows you're meant for more. The version of you that's done settling, done hiding, done being less than what you're capable of. This is your climb, your moment to own your pain, own your pain, own your past, own your power. No matter where you started, no matter how many times you fall, you get to rise again, not because it's easy, but because you've decided your story isn't finished. And every time you rise, you rewrite the ending. You shift the narrative from a broken end to a rebuilt, from a forgotten to focused, from a damaged to you were driven. That's the power you hold. The power to transform your setbacks into setup, your scars into strength, your doubt into fuel. Because rising isn't about pretending you don't hurt. It's about choosing not to stay there, choosing to move anyway, choosing to believe that what's ahead is still worth the fight. So right now, decide who you want to be. Decide that no matter what life throws at you, you will rise, not once, not twice, but every single time you're knocked down, because you were built to bounce back. You were built to bounce back. You were built for more. The power to change your story is already inside you. All you have to do is reach for it, stand tall, and keep moving forward. Your comeback starts now. Let the world see the unstoppable force that you truly are.